Hello, Fanta here. You're watching Fantavision, and today I am discussing some major bullshit. I am discussing the fact that Emuparadise, the best place for ROMs, the best place for information on retro games, the best place for emulators, it's just the best place for emulation on the internet. And guess what? Guess who's shutting it down? Guess. Give a little guess. Come on, give a little guess. Can you do that for me? Give a little guess. Fucking Nintendo. Nintendo does the dumbest fucking shit. I don't get why. I don't get it. You guys, okay. I already hear the people in the comment section typing away. Ooh, Nintendo's justified because they're trying to make money off their old games and, ooh, they're entitled to that money. Okay. I get that. Okay? I get that argument. I get that it's in the gray area of legality. I get that. It's semi-legal, kind of illegal. It all depends on what you're downloading and how you're downloading it and what game it is and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if you own the game already, it's not illegal. It's just not. You own it. Why does it matter if you own it again on your computer? Seriously. It's the same thing as what you have already. The only reason that you would do that is because, my Nintendo 64 is not plugged in here. I do not want to play a Nintendo 64 on this massive TV. I just don't. It's going to look like crap. It's not going to be good. I want to play it on a CRT TV, but unfortunately, I don't have room anywhere for a CRT TV. However, if I get an emulator for my PC, there are mods and emulators and things that just make the games look better. And not only that, there are also mods that allow for controller support for certain games. And I'm not talking about using a plug-in N64. I'm talking about there are people that went out of their way to mod GoldenEye for the Nintendo 64 for dual stick support. That's insane. That's awesome. So you can play it without having to use the auto aim all the time. You can play it by actually aiming at people and shooting at them, just like a normal first-person shooter. It's just so many great things about emulation, and it preserves the history of these games because a lot of them, they're going to degrade. I mean, even the Wii U discs have been shown that they're going to degrade. A lot of them have been already. I think Wii's the same way. They're such fragile discs. I've seen countless Wii discs not working. And systems. I mean, after some point, all of these old systems are going to stop working. There's just not going to be any more. And you could be like, well, Fanta, you could just buy those new systems and play those old games on them. Those new systems suck most of the time. I mean, they're finally getting to the point where it's not a glitchy, horrible mess. But they're not perfect yet. They're not as good as the original systems. And there's a finite amount of those systems out there. I mean, sure, I own 9 GameCubes, but at some point, all of those GameCubes are going to stop working. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. And you could argue, well, Nintendo wants to resell these games, and they want to make they make money on these games that were published on their system. Now, I feel like they can't with a lot of these games because they're not owned completely by Nintendo. They don't own everything. They don't own 007 GoldenEye. That's why we don't have one for the Nintendo Switch coming out. There's just too many people that own the licensing to that title. So that's why it wasn't in the Rare Replay. It's just such a fucking complicated mess for that game that I don't think we'll ever have a re-release that is not fucked with like the re-release that we had. I heard that wasn't a terrible game, but it wasn't what we wanted. What we wanted was a recreation of the exact game from our childhood. And I get that a lot of people realize that the rose-colored glasses are on, the nostalgia goggles are duct taped on. And yeah, I'm sure they are, but guess what? I know for a fact that that game is fun playing in HD because there's a GoldenEye source that you can play on the PC. Looks great, and the multiplayer is so much fun. If you did it all in that engine and you did it with those graphics and just re-released the game, it'd be amazing. So many people would jump into that game. They'd play multiplayer. They'd be playing the single player again. And the thing is also Nintendo is not taking advantage of the fact that people want their old shit. The only thing that they've done is release the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic, which are basically just emulators. And you could be making that as the argument of, well, fans, they want to make money off of those. Well, guess what? I have always been able to emulate up until now, but I was going to support them anyway. I love the packaging that came in. The box reminds me of what it came with, like what it looked like when it was in stores, when it first was released. I love using the original controllers. I love the fact that they made the HDMI plug-in straight to the TV. It was convenient. It was easy. It's great. I love the classic systems. And guess what? They sold like hotcakes. They were fucking sold out so fast. They were selling on eBay for hundreds of dollars for the longest time. You couldn't get your hands on these things. So if Nintendo wants to tell us that emulating is hurting their bottom line, are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? And all those people that blindly defend companies for no reason, even though they're not even getting paid. They just like to suck corporate cock for some reason. I don't know why. I don't get it. Stop. I mean, this is something that is not harming anybody. Guess what? Sony doesn't sell PSP games anymore. And if they do, they don't support the damn console. They don't deserve the money for that console right now because they do not support it. And once you're done supporting a system, I feel like, maybe this is just me, that it should be almost in the domain. That's what it is. I feel like once a system is done with its lifespan, it should be in the domain. That's my opinion. And I'm not talking about 360 still being supported. Okay, PS3, well, Wii's kind of been kicked to the curb. I mean, they shut down the eShop for fuck's sake. They're not selling new Wii games. I feel like because Nintendo's not going to make money off that system anyway, why the hell can't we just go and emulate these games? Why can't we experience them still? If we buy a used Wii game, Nintendo's not making money off of that. If you're in the argument that emulation should be banned, you're in the argument that used games should be banned. Almost. It's almost the same thing because Nintendo's not making a penny. Third-party sources are. So it just doesn't make any sense to me that they're going out of their way and doing this. What the fuck, Nintendo? You're the only company doing this that I know of. Please let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. If there's another company, I will point the finger right at them too. Don't you worry. Because this is bullshit. This is just bullshit. It's just anti-consumer practice. They're shutting down fan games left and right. They shut down the fan game of Pokemon. They shut down the fan Metroid game. Do you know what Sega's doing? They're fucking hiring the people, and Sonic Mania was born. I'm serious. If you just stopped being a corporate idiot, if you started being pro-consumer, I swear to God, you'd be doing so much better, Nintendo. You're already doing well, but you could do even better. You make incredible games. I fucking love the company and I hate them at the same time. It's such a bittersweet feeling I have towards this company because they keep doing great stuff, like making games like Mario Odyssey, which is just a treasure in just a sea full of brown, open world, generic, shitty shooters that are chock full of microtransactions and season passes, and you just get this wonderful gem of a game from Nintendo, and it's just amazing. And you see all the areas where they could have put microtransactions, but guess what? They didn't. So they're on one hand, they're doing amazing things, and they're avoiding all of these bullshit things they could do to make a ton of money. And then they go and do stuff like this. It just baffles me. They could be the golden child of gaming. The gaming company we put on a pedestal. But instead they do dumb shit like this all the time. And it's so frustrating to me. It makes me really angry. Because I know that this company is capable of making wonderful games and steering clear from industry bullshit. And then I'm like disappointed in them. I'm more disappointed than angry. I don't get it. I don't get it. I loved that website. And right now, they're still up from what I can tell. You can still download any ROM emulator, stuff like that from the website. So what I'm telling you guys is to start archiving this shit. Seriously. Download as much as you can. Make it like back in the days where you shared CDs around everyone. That's a little bit, I don't know. There's all these gray areas for stuff like that, you know? I mean, sharing a CD, is that technically piracy? What is that? There's so many gray areas in things. It's so weird. You can't really say if it's right or wrong. But I feel like with this, it's much closer to right than wrong. I feel like it's wrong pirating and emulating modern titles. I think that's wrong. That's cutting into developers right now that are trying to make it, that is killing those little guys and hurting even the big guys. Of course, right now they've proven that piracy has not hurt the big guys in any way. And I'm sure most people that do pirate games, at least the people I've talked to, pirate games, try it out, and if it's worth supporting, they support them. I know lots of people that have done that. I've done that in the past. I've done that with games. I pirated a game because I wanted to see if it was any good, because game demos don't fucking exist anymore. And I was like, this game's great. I'm going to support the developers and pick it up. And they've proven time and time again that the sales are on the rise. Just for all these big companies, they're on the rise. There's no decline as piracy has increased. There's nothing that has been lost due to piracy. Some games have actually made it bigger due to piracy. The developers put their game up to be pirated for one reason or another. And that game did amazing because people understood that the developer just wants people to experience their game, and they know the passion behind it. They can see it in the game. They can see the hard work, and they're supporting it. And I would happily continue to support Nintendo even when emulation still exists. And I have been. And now I almost don't want to because they're doing this bullshit again. Come on, guys. What are you doing? I just don't get it. It doesn't make sense. So start downloading as much as you can, archive it, because in the future, we might not be able to get... I know there's so many different websites. They can't get them all. So even if Emuparadise goes down, I will put a link to an emulator website in my Discord. I'm going to try to keep this shit alive because I think emulating is a good thing, mostly. It allows you to experience older games without having to pay exorbitant prices online for cartridges. And I know I alluded to this earlier, but Nintendo is not, if they really want to capitalize on the fact that they have all of these great old titles in their vault and they really want to make money off of them, put them on the damn Switch, you idiots. Like, seriously. I mean, how hard is it to at least do batches, you know? Like, have an entire team dedicated to getting these ROMs up and running perfectly on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, people are already doing it. They're already hacking their Nintendo Switches and turning them into emulators. You're missing out on a huge money-making opportunity here. And put them up for cheap, you know? I mean, you could probably charge $10, maybe $15 a GameCube game if you're stretching it a little bit. But I guarantee if you sold Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo Switch and it ran perfectly and it was cleaned up to whatever the HDMI graphics or component cables would have been back in the day, maybe if you're gonna charge the money, spend a little extra time with it, you know? Maybe try to clean it up a little bit. Try to make it hit that 60 frames per second. It's an old fucking game. You can do it. I mean, if you went through that little extra bit of care and effort, you would make so much money. I would buy it again, just out of convenience sake. Having Luigi's Mansion on the go for the GameCube on my Nintendo Switch? Oh my god. Double Dash again? Can you imagine playing Double Dash again? There's so many great games. N64 games, clean them up a little bit, throw them on there. People have been saying this until their voice is hoarse because it's true. It's just such a simple thing that they could be doing, and they're just not doing it. Why? We have not gotten an I don't get it. I don't get it. Makes no sense. Nintendo just does the weirdest shit. I mean, YouTubers, emulation, and then they don't understand the money-making opportunities behind these actions. I mean, YouTubers are selling games for Nintendo. They're free advertisements. They're free endorsements of your products. Like, you're giving these games to reviewers, and sometimes it's funny, because when I used to review games, and I would get sent Nintendo games, which after this video I'll probably never be able to get back in that program, even though I care, and that's why I'm upset and disappointed. It's because I expect more from Nintendo, but they would send you the game, and then you do your review, and sometimes you'd still get fucking flagged. It was craziness. Most of the time I didn't as a reviewer, but sometimes, I mean, a lot of these reviewers are getting flagged, and that's insane. Nintendo is stealing their revenue. You can't put up gameplay of a Nintendo game. They'll steal your revenue. That's just insane. That's stealing, because it is fair use. Once you make a gameplay, review, commentary of some sort that is under fair use, they're stealing money. I know Jim Sterling has covered that before. I'm not going to go into that. If you want to go into more of that, check out Jim Sterling's thing. But just seeing this happen again, especially to a site that I've known and I've used for years, for experiencing old games that I didn't have a chance. It's what got me into game collecting, honestly. It's one of the things that got me into it. Because I enjoyed playing these games on my computer, but I wanted to experience it like people did back then. I wanted to play the original Mario game on the original system with the original controller on a TV that was from that era, because I wanted to be transported back to that time and just experience it like how they did. And it was a magical experience when I did that with every console that I did, with my NES, Super Nintendo, GameCube, Genesis, going back and playing the Genesis again. And they're just wasting their time and resources on going after these small websites, these people that are just fans of their game. They're going after their own audience. I just don't get it. So, with that, I'm just going to sit here sadly, and I don't know what else to say, so I'm just going to end the video. Leave a like down below if you like the video, or if you agree with me. Comment down below what you think about this whole situation, about what you think of Nintendo as a company as a whole, because it just feels like it's this weird two-headed, now I only know two of the heads, Japan and North America. I don't know about Europe or anywhere else in the world, but those two heads I know. And they're just so opposite. I feel like the North American Nintendo doesn't want to do this. That's just that's just what I think, because it is the Japanese Nintendo that is flagging these videos. So I'm assuming it's the same Nintendo that is going after this stuff. They just don't get it. They're stuck in the Stone Ages. And the Stone Ages. They just are. And you can kind of see that with their console a little bit. The fact that the friends list still has a fucking friend code thing. The fact that there's no achievements for some... Like, achievements aren't necessary. But, I don't know. They're just kind of fun to have. There's no voice chat, really. There's no text chat. There's nothing. There's none of these social features that we've known of since, like, PS2 era. I mean, come on, guys. Xbox original era. It's just not acceptable these days. And yes, I own Nintendo Switch because they make incredible games, like I said. But, alright, I'm going on again. Comment down below what you think of the situation. let me know what you think of emulation as a whole and what you think of my idea of starting an archive. Everybody's starting their own archive just in case they're all taken down one day. Because I feel like everybody should have a chance to experience these older games at some point. And as these old games break down, these old systems stop working, it makes me really sad to think that maybe one day somebody won't be able to play the original Mario. That's just a sad thought. I don't want to think these games are going to be lost to history. And there's countless websites that are dedicated to keeping PC, like old PC games up. And those are fine. Usually those don't get shut down. Like old arcade games too. So those are also, there's archival sites, just like a history museum of these old games, so you can experience them for the first time. And that's just what I think these companies should allow to happen. I guarantee Sony is not making a giant profit off of PS1 games. Even PS2. I doubt it's barely, I don't think it's even a percentage. It's like probably 0.000 something that they might be making off PS2 games. But again, they're not the company that's attacking these people. You can still buy PS2 games in the PS4. They're supporting it more than Nintendo. Okay. Done with the rant. Thanks for watching, everyone. And as always, even though this shit's happening, have a fantastic day. See you guys. For those of you who care, who are still here, watching the video all the way through, thank you. Seriously, thank you. It means a lot that you're willing to stick through this far, this long of a video. I am drinking New Belgium Voodoo Ranger Juicy Haze IPA. Fun fact, this is really good, by the way. Fun fact, the hazy IPAs, they do go through the same filtration system. They just don't go through the secondary one. I learned this when I was touring the Ballast Point Brewery. They do go through, but sometimes just either, I think they add more hops later on in the brewing process. Fuck, I knew it before I started shooting this video. I think they just add more hops in during the brewing process. So like by the end, they get that hazy look to the beer. It looks unfiltered, but it is still filtered technically. It's really interesting. I think it might go through less plates, so it's not clear. I don't know. There was something along the way in the process that made it hazy. It was really interesting. It was cool doing that brewery tour. It was really cool. I want to go to the New Belgium one. I guess it's in Fort Collins, Colorado. I think. I could be wrong. I think it is. Also, what's really funny, and I think people don't know this, but the most of the fruit flavor doesn't come from flavorings added. I know like Leinenkugel and stuff like that, they do, but with like IPAs and beers like that, they don't add flavor. It's the hops themselves that add that fruity flavor. Really interesting. I need to go to Colorado. They have a ton of different breweries there. Maybe my next vacation or something. That'd be so much fun. Go to one of these New Belgium places. Maybe they'll sponsor me. I don't know. That'd be dope.